Ireland in the 1830s. Years of famine, poverty, and despair. In County Cavan, a young boy named Patrick Henry O'Rourke was born amid the cries of a starving nation. As a child, he crossed the Atlantic with his family aboard a crowded immigrant ship, chasing not fortune, but survival. For them, the dream of America was not of riches, but of dignity and a full plate. Rochester, New York, a city that offered second chances to the poor and the hopeful. Patrick grew up here, working, studying, and proving his worth. His sharp mind and discipline soon caught attention, earning him admission to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. When he graduated at the top of his class, his parents wept with pride. He was no longer a poor immigrant boy. He was to become one of the men who would shape America's destiny. (1861), the year America tore itself apart. At just 24 years old, Patrick O'Rourke stood at the threshold of destiny. He had graduated first in his class at West Point, a brilliant engineer and a man of quiet resolve. But war leaves no time for reflection. The young scholar was about to become a soldier. O'Rourke took command of the 141st New York Infantry, a regiment of dock workers, blacksmiths, and immigrants. To them, he was not a distant officer, but one of their own, calm, just, and unshakably loyal. In camp and on the march, he forged them into something greater than an army, a brotherhood. By the summer of 1863, the war had devoured thousands of lives. The Army of the Potomac marched north, shadowing General Lee's Confederate forces as they invaded Pennsylvania. O'Rourke's regiment endured blistering heat, endless dust, and the exhaustion of constant movement. On July 2, 1863, they reached the small Pennsylvania town of Gettysburg. None could imagine that within hours, this quiet countryside would become one of the bloodiest battlefields in American history. And, atop a rocky hill called Little Round Top, O'Rourke's fate, and perhaps the fate of the Union, would be decided. July 2nd, 1863, the second day of Gettysburg. The sun was sinking over Pennsylvania as cannon fire rolled across the hills. Confederate forces struck the Union left flank with relentless fury. The rocky height, known as Little Round Top, was the key to the battlefield. And it was almost undefended. General Gouverneur K. Warren realized the danger and raced to find reinforcements. Amid the chaos, he spotted a column of blue, the 140th New York, led by Colonel Patrick O'Rourke. There was no time for orders, no time for hesitation. Warren shouted, "Colonel, for God's sake, take your regiment there." O'Rourke did not ask questions. He turned to his men and charged up the hill. O'Rourke led from the front, his sword raised high. The men of the 145th New York followed him into the storm, their battle cries echoing through the rocks. They reached the crest just as Confederate troops began to climb its slopes. The two forces met in a savage clash, bayonets, smoke, and blood blending into chaos. Amid the turmoil, a bullet struck Colonel O'Rourke in the neck. He fell instantly without a word, but his men held the hill. In those few decisive minutes, O'Rourke had bought time. And with it, the salvation of the Union left flank. The smoke cleared over Gettysburg, and the Union held the line. On the slopes of Little Round Top lay hundreds of men, among them Colonel Patrick O'Rourke. He was just 26 years old. For his bravery, his name was etched into the memory of a nation. Though time would slowly fade his story. Today, a granite monument stands on the very hill he died defending. Every year, visitors pause there in silence, the wind whispering through the rocks, as if carrying the echo of his last charge. Patrick O'Rourke, an Irish immigrant, an American hero, one man whose courage helped change the course of a war and the fate of a nation.